Coming to you live from the campus of the University of Hawaii at Manoa and inside Simplify Arena at Stan Sheriff Center. It is first round coverage of the 2021 Outrigger Big West Conference Men's Volleyball Championship Tournament presented by the Hawaiian Islands. The bracket looks like this. Our first match will feature third-seeded Long Beach State against number 6 UC Irvine. UC Santa Barbara, the 2-seed, awaits the winner of this one, and the top seed and host Hawaii awaits the winner of the nightcap, which is between CSUN and UC San Diego. Aloha, everybody. Along with Lisa Strand, I'm Kanoa Leahy. And Lisa, in a testament to the medal of the Big West Conference, you have the first match of the first round of the tournament featuring two programs that account for 3 of the last 8 national championships. And by virtue of the COVID-shortened season a year ago, Long Beach State, they are still the 2-time reigning national champs.
Well, it is a scary deal here inside of this arena tonight because really, truly, this Big West Conference brings together some top teams. But most importantly, everybody's slate is 0-0. So it's a one and done. You win, you move on. You lose, you're on your way home.
Well, with that, let's take a look at the Kaiser Permanente keys to the match. What you got, Lisa?
Well, for UC Irvine, consistency. Coach Niffen says we can be good. We've had flashes of brilliance. And if tonight it is going to be, then we're going to have to be better than we ever have been. And for Long Beach State, they want to stay focused on their side of the net. They've been working on cleaning up things and applying. They're striving to be the best that they possibly can be as well.
Well, you have a good look at the two head coaches, and these are two teams that did play each other earlier in the season, a home-and-home affair, and it would be a Long Beach State sweep. But the second night back in Irvine, it got interesting. Yeah, the Anteaters win the first 2 sets. You had an injury to the setter Aiden Knight, which prompted a change at the setter position for Long Beach, and Ryan Poole took over, and he effectively led Long Beach State to a reverse sweep. And so for David Niffen, who you see in your screen, 9th season atop the UC Irvine program, that night represented very much what might have been. However, the flip side is it is a very different looking Anteaters squad a few weeks down the road.
And they continue to change. They lineup changes due to injuries and just the coach trying to figure out who to put where in what positions. And actually, these two teams line up very well together, Kanoa, like you were sharing about the reverse sweep. Just a couple of points right in there. And UC Irvine could have been victorious that evening.
You have some heavy hitters for sure. 2 of the top 4 outside hitters in the conference, at least statistically speaking. Spencer Olivier for Long Beach State, 3rd in the conference in kills per set. Joel Schneidmiller, 4th in the conference in kills per set. And you also have in one of the more interesting matchups the 1 and 2 rated recruits out of the class of 2020. On the side of Long Beach State, Clark Godbold, he has been a godsend to a certain degree for Alan Knipe. On the other side for UC Irvine, Francesco Sani, who we saw in this building just a weekend ago, really kind of come out of his shell and put together one of his most effective offensive matches.
And exactly what you're sharing, Kanoa. They both made the all-freshman team, the Big West freshman team, and Sani, the Big West freshman of the week player. But both of them have been immediate impact players for their teams, coming in and contributing at a very high level of volleyball.
So the introductions still taking place here at Simplify Arena at Stan Sheriff Center. Long Beach State coming in. They are currently 7th in the country in the AVCA poll, 6-4 overall. All of those matches counted towards the Big West standings. On the other side, the Anteaters, they remain outside of the national rankings. It's the first time really that they've had a stint where they went unranked since the last 2 weeks of 2016.
We saw both of these teams within the last 3 weeks here in the Simplify Arena against University of Hawaii, and both of them bring a lot of talent to the table. As the season has progressed, they've gotten better and better, and they've gotten more consistent in their lineups as well.
Anteaters 2-13 overall. They're 2-8 in the Big West. Again, the winner of this one gets second-seeded UC Santa Barbara tomorrow. And the host top seed Hawaii still unbeaten, number 1 ranked. They await the winner of the nightcap. We'll have for you CSUN and UC San Diego. But this should be a good one. There is Charlie Wade, head coach for the Rainbow Warriors, looking on. You have several of the members of the roster who are actually working as the ball retrievers and tossers around the court. maybe some floor wiping action and duties for them as well. So an intimate setting because of the fact that no fans are yet allowed in this facility, and that is one of the unfortunate parts of this. But at the same time, you bring the entire conference here to Honolulu, Hawaii, and a lot of the coaches talked about it does definitely still give it that postseason tournament vibe.
It definitely does, and they talk about it being a neutral site, and actually the only team that hasn't played here this season is CSUN, who's up in our next match. But these teams were just here within 3 weeks, so they are more and more comfortable in the Stan Sheriff Center.
Yeah, in fact, the Anteaters, they stayed the entirety of the week between those two matches last weekend and this opening night of the Big West Conference Tournament. So they're feeling right at home.
They're feeling very at home. I'm sure they've climatized themselves very nicely.
Here is Dylan Jai. He is the 6'1" freshman setter from Cupertino, California. And he gets us started. Right side set, it goes to Clark Godbold. A little pitter-patter at the net. Long Beach on the attack. And Ethan Siegfried gets it down. Siegfried is starting for the 6th straight match. And this is a guy who really, since that trip out to Hawaii, has erupted, playing some of his best volleyball, frankly, over the last half of the season.
Well, he truly is. He led his team in senior night just last weekend at the Pyramid in Long Beach State. He had 11 kills, and he had a bomb of an ace on game point.
How about that bomb right there? Alexandre Sakanda, the southpaw swinger, 6'4" redshirt junior from Ottawa, Canada, averaging 1.74 kills per set. He's also starting for the 5th straight match on the Anteater side.
And the Anteaters have a couple of lefties, which really helps their team.
Now, this is the guy right here, 3.7 kills per set. Joel Schneidmiller, also the team leader in aces, and he forces an overpass there. Middle set, it is Scott Static who just gently places it down, and when you're 7 feet tall, it makes it that much easier, hitting 359 on the year, a first-team All-Big West selection.
And he was also a #1 recruit right out of high school, like a couple others that you mentioned earlier, Kano. But for their team to be successful tonight, I believe that Irvine has to be more consistent in the middle and get their middles offensively involved.
Serving tough, obviously a huge factor anytime you get this level of talent on the floor as well. And you saw Schneidmiller sort of trade 1 for 1, right? He got the overpass, which in many instances works as well as an ace, sends it long the second time. So we are knotted at 2 here early. And Ethan Siegfried,
a local boy out of Punahou High School.
And he sends it just in, just tapped up against that end line. And so an ace for Ethan Siegfried. Now, we have 4 line judges around this court, and so we're not going to miss any calls here today, right?
There shall be no challenges. Let's hope. Ethan Siegfried picking up right where he left off on an ace on senior night in the Pyramid.
Yeah, that's his team leading 16th ace of the season. Scramble on the Irvine side, but Sakanda able to get a hit out of it, and that was due to the incredible effort by the libero, A.J. Faley, on that bump set.
A.J. Faley with an incredible bump set, like you said, but a very difficult ball to swing on from that left side. Excuse me, from the right side. Sakanda with his 2nd kill on the evening.
So here is Static, 3 serving 3. And Aiden Knight getting the start at setter for Long Beach, sets up Spencer Olivier, an all Big West Conference first team selection as well. 3.6 kills per set, hitting 284. But a big story here with the effective return to the starting rotation for Aiden Knight. He had given way to Ryan Poole basically the previous 6 matches, at least as far as being a starter. He did get some action as a serving specialist, some spot duty, but this is a pretty big move here on the Long Beach side.
It really is. I think the big part about having Aiden Knight back in the lineup is his leadership on the court. He's got a lot of experience, and I think the chemistry works well with him and his team as well.
Well, that was blasted by Cole Gillis. Gillis, interestingly enough, when these two teams first hooked up, he was playing libero, but he has just been crushing it on the outside the last few weeks.
Nothing like a redshirt freshman at 6'5" who can be an outside hitter star and also your libero. That shows an all-around player.
Here it comes from Sakanda. Trading blows here early in set 1. One-hand set, Knight. And that one is put away by Shane Holdaway, 6'8" sophomore from Huntington Beach, California. And a little bit of what Aiden Knight brings to the table. He is the coach's son. He is obviously imbued in this program to a certain extent. But he brings some of that dynamic aspect, certainly with his hands.
He really does, and he's been around and grown up the game for so many years that his knowledge, his volleyball IQ just lends his team a lot of experience.
Ooh, that was a laser beam off the palm of Francesco Sani, 6'8" freshman from Bethesda, Maryland. The Big West Conference All-Freshman team selection. He's also the reigning Big West Freshman of the Week, averaged 2.6 kills in this building over 2 matches against Hawaii.
And Sani's whose mom coached him for years. His mom, Amy, who's an American. His dad's Italian. He's born in Italy.
And Godbold able to get that one down before stumbling across that center line. So there it was, right? That was sort of the sequential highlight reel, if you will, of the number 2 rated recruit in the country, according to volleyballmag.com, Francesco Sani on the Irvine side, and the number 1 recruit of the 2020 class, Clark Godbold. As that serve goes out, Spencer Olivier sends it wide, and so here we go.
Some seriously bright futures when you look at these freshmen who are already in the starting lineup and carrying such huge loads, and they've yet got another 3 years to go.
We are tied at 6. We've been tied every step of the way. Middle said there's Holdaway, and a little too hot to handle for Patrick Vorenkamp. He was another guy who did not play the first 2 matches against Long Beach State. So maybe would you suggest there is some advantage to Irvine, the fact that they've been here for a week and they have some different pieces that Long Beach has to adjust to?
I would say they definitely have some advantages of being here the longest, getting some rhythm, some camaraderie, the relationships that Coach Niffen wants his team to have. He's building the culture for his team. They have not had this opportunity all season long to spend quality time together.
David Niffen in his 9th season running the show for the Anteaters.
There we see a look at Davis Lau, a local boy also out of Punahou, who's at Irvine as a libero.
And that one goes long. So a freebie given right back to Long Beach. There's a look at Lau.
You can see both teams really going after aggressive serving from the service line, bombing away. We'll see if they settle down a little. Again, we talked about being more consistent and reducing the amount of errors.
Outside set, and there is Schneidmiller. Got that set from Brian Garcia, who will be rotating in and out in this 2-setter system with Dylan Jai. Garcia, 6'5" junior. Suffered a concussion earlier in the season, did not play against Long Beach. So yet another sort of new piece here that the Anteaters have to show. However, we are going bit by bit, point for point so far, 8 serving 8.
It seems like this is a tendency in the Big West. There have been so much consistent volleyball being played.
Simone Andersen puts that one down, 6'8" junior from Middelfart, Denmark. He's hitting 409 on the season. That's a very gaudy number. He's also tops in the Big West Conference in blocks per set, which is good enough for 2nd nationally. 9 serving 8. Here it comes from the Punahou alum Siegfried. And it is Sani going off the hands and out. And this is pretty incredible. I mean, we have really gone back and forth seesaw style through the first 9 points. We're tied for the 9th time.
Seesaw, teeter-totter, and there has been a lot of effective blocks and great passing by both teams. They're playing pretty consistent minus the service errors.
Middle set, and there's Andersen. Knipe and Andersen showing that fluid chemistry right now early on, and it is 10 serving 9 Long Beach State.
Long Beach State hitting at 875 right now. Irvine hitting at 778, so we're seeing some back and forth. Not a lot of long rallies here right now.
No errors yet in the hitting department. We have a couple of service errors, however, as that one goes long. So I guess if this is any early indication for what we're in store for here this evening, get comfortable, because we could be here for a while as you take a look at Alan Knipe in his 18th season running Long Beach State, 3-time AVCA Coach of the Year. And again, they're still the defending 2-time national champs here. UC Irvine got a national title in Niffen's first year back in 2013. As that back row set goes to Schneidmiller, and here's a little rally. High ball set to Olivier, blocked back. Good coverage there by Siegfried. They go back to Olivier, and that time he put a little more emphasis on the swing and got it down for the Long Beach point.
And Olivier, recognizing the big block, hits high off of the hands the first contact, getting the ball back for what we'd call a free ball opportunity, and the second time around has a great court vision and just bombs away.
Irvine going back outside to Sani. A little ill-timed there, so a chance here for the Beach. Olivier dug up, but only momentarily. It was Schneidmiller, I think, who got that touch along the back line. But for the first time, Long Beach State has built an incredible two-point advantage.
They're really creating some separation here, Canella. We'll see how long it lasts.
Knight with the serve. Oh, and that was an iffy contact. And in fact, yes, they will whistle that one. Cole Gillis got caught in between trying to open hand receive that serve. So that prompts a timeout from Irvine. Long Beach by 3. A little bit of the beautiful scenery made available here in these years where Hawaii is able to host a conference tournament such as this, as we take a look at the First Hawaiian Bank top 3. Big West blocks per set. We touched on it. Simone Anderson is #1 in the conference. Pat Gassman, Hawaii, just like UC Santa Barbara, with the night off. He is in the #2 position. And yes, Santa Barbara is represented in the top 3. Some big-time volleyball talent, and I think we alluded to it in the Open. It is a testament to the quality of this Big West League that you have the first match of the first day of the conference tournament, and it is Irvine versus Long Beach. And if you were to just look at the records, you'd be like, oh, okay, whatever. But these are some name-brand programs that can play at a very high level with some very highly touted talent on both sides.
They really are. The Big West, very, very well represented in the Division I men's volleyball right now, have 3 teams in the top 10 in the nation.
Olivier sends that long. Long Beach wanted the touch. There was no touch called. And so, hey, look, you have 4 line judges. You got the R1, the R2. We're still going to have a challenge here from Alan Knipe. And the challenge system works the same as what we've seen through the regular season. Each side has 3 challenges. They get an added challenge if it goes to a 5th set. And if the challenge is successful, then you keep that challenge, which is certainly what Alan Knipe is banking on here.
And you gotta love when Olivier turns around and he's like, immediately he signals. You see him on this replay, touch, touch. He'll hold his hand up and he's celebrating there. He's convinced. He turns and he tells Coach Knipe there was a touch on that.
Yeah, maybe not up on the net on the block, but it could be in the back row is where a touch occurred. And I think that there might be a beef here. Yeah. Correctly so from Alan Knipe.
A little late reaction there.
Jesse Martinez is the chief of this officiating crew. He is the R1. Bert Fuller is the R2. He's got the headset on. He's taking a look at this. And the line judges Mark Nakashima, Kevin Chun, Mel Cayetano, and John Park. And this is pretty big, right? I mean, you're talking about in an opening set where it was going back and forth through the first 10 points, and all of a sudden Long Beach State, if this is overturned, they'll have a 4-point advantage, and under the circumstances, that almost feels insurmountable.
It really does. That's a big separation right there.
All right, but do you see a touch? Can you tell?
Well, not from this video right here. But you got the UC Irvine bench cheering right now, clapping to keep their energy going on the sidelines. Got the players on the court. Here we go.
Is there enough to overturn the call is the question. Now, we happen to not be working with the highest resolution replay system, and so that does play a factor.
If there wasn't a touch, then there were 2 attempts to touch it. There was 1 strike, 2 strike, and then they're lucky it was out.
Well, they do call a touch, and so a successful challenge, and Long Beach State up 4, give the kill to Spencer Olivier.
And Olivier was huge in that reverse sweep as well against UC Irvine. He led the team with 20 kills when they came back, and they were down 0-2 and came back and won against UC Irvine earlier.
Had 17 kills the first night and was promptly named the Conference Player of the Week. High ball outside goes to Sani, and he is stuffed. Godbold jumping up next to Holdaway.
Godbold, wow, you could hear that kaboom. It was basically shut him down in the closet.
Godbold, Big West all-freshman team. Now, some of the bigger awards will not be announced until the conclusion of this tournament. So we're talking Coach of the Year, Player of the Year, Freshman of the Year, all that stuff. But certainly a guy who is in the running for Freshman of the Year, a 3-time Big West Freshman of the Week. And he had a pretty big performance against Irvine first time around as well. 13 kills in one of those matches against the Anteaters. Here's Olivier, good scramble play in transition for Long Beach State, but he pops it long, and Irvine is able to break that run.
Irvine trying to slow things down and take things back into control on their side of the net.
Here's Gillis, 6'5", redshirt frosh from San Jose, California. Long Beach very much out of system, and they're forced to send a free ball over. Chance for the Anteaters. Outside, Schneidmiller pounds it through the double block and down.
And that's always the true test. When you receive a free ball, if you can actually side out or score off of that. And of course, Jai going to his go-to guy, Joel Schneidmiller. There you see him questioning the up ref. I'm not sure about what, but he got the point.
Yeah, that's interesting, because it did go his way. You wonder what he's referring to there. That is an ace delivered out of the deck. And Gillis has promptly brought Irvine back within a deuce.
The libero outside hitter, and now serving bullets from the back line.
And a timeout taken by Alan Knight. It's brewing here in set one. Welcome back. Purchase your favorite UH gear online from the UH Bookstore. Go to bookstore.hawaii.edu to start shopping now. You know, a lot of these players would like to be out in some of the lagoons around the state. This happens to be from the Big Island, and they would love to be on a stand-up paddleboard or something like that. You have a lot of water-minded individuals who are participating here this week, but they got some business to take care of here on the volleyball court.
That's right. Kehoe Bay on the Big Island. Maybe after they finish here, since they're already here, they can go inter-island now, right?
Yeah.
It's been opening up more.
David Niffen played it pretty tight to the vest. He didn't really let us know if he or the coaching staff or players were allowed some time to have a little fun in the sun, but
he did say they were going to be getting in the water.
All right.
I don't know how much.
That's right, to what extent. Here's Godbold on the swing. And out of the timeout, Long Beach State rights the ship. And they're up 16-13.
Godbold doing a nice job on the outside, the 6'5" freshman. Check out the pass there. Perfect pass.
So 2 kills on 3 swings for Godbold. Also has a block to his credit. And here comes the serve from Spencer Olivier, and that one hits 63 miles per hour on the radar gun, but just misses long. And like you said, Lisa, these servers are going for it.
They really are. They've seen each other enough, and the coaches know enough about one another. They've got to focus on their opponents, and they've got to try to figure out what they can do to get them out of system.
There's Vorenkamp to serve for the Anteaters, and he lofts it long. A float serve that just kept on drifting. So Long Beach State back up 3.
You know, in the olden days or back a ways, you used to see the coaches calling out serving signals, and you don't see it as much. They're kind of giving the servers the green light to go for the serves more often.
And that one is blasted long. Yeah, it depends, I think, on the circumstance and how the match is progressing. Every once in a while, you'll have a coach who asks for something specific, but you're right. These players now are given a lot of latitude, even when it comes to whether or not to bring the heat. Charlie Wade always refers to it almost in golf terms, right? You got to know when to maybe pull out the 7-iron or a lower club, perhaps.
It's true, you do. You need to learn how to identify when is appropriate and when's not.
And that one is smacked by Anderson, but popped up back over the net on the dig by Jai. Another chase down scramble defensive play for Irvine. Schneidmiller tries to poke it off the block, and he does so successfully.
And that's an experienced player on that play. He knew he could not do much with that set. It was low, it was tight. He was basically in the closet with no key. He saw 2 big blockers up there, and he pushes it in and out. Very smart play, but the defense is really what made that play.
16 serving 17. Anteaters fighting back within 1. Here's Siegfried through the block and down. Ethan Siegfried, who has just been playing so well here in recent weeks. Double-figure kills in 4 of his last 5 matches. Against Hawaii, he lit it up. 19 kills in a 5-set loss. It was one of the more dramatic matches of the Hawaii season for sure. He had 708 that night.
Those are scary numbers, and he talked about coming home and loving to play here as a kid.
As the stuff once again makes its presence felt, this time courtesy Simone Anderson jumping up next to Aiden Knipe.
Anderson, the Big West Defensive Player of the Week. There you see why that's actually considered a defensive play, the block.
Great serve there by Godbold. High ball goes to Sakanda. 3 blockers waiting for him. Schneidmiller plays it off the ricochet. Gets it back on the opposite side. And he is blocked and roofed. This Long Beach State front proving to be formidable here in set 1.
And their block really turning on at a critical time for their team, creating a greater separation.
Well, this is the top team in the conference in blocks per set, 2.8 per. They're at 3, so right around that number, and they force another Irvine timeout.
Back to Siegfried on that thought. He grew up here in Hawaii, but he talked about coming home and playing in the islands. He was always cheering for UH, and he said how strange it is to come home and be cheered against and have people playing, not cheering for you. And it really motivated him. Now I wonder what he thinks.
Yeah, well, he was one of those guys I was referring to as well, as far as the watermen, right, who were participating in this tournament. He also paddled in high school, kayaked, won a state title, in fact, in the sport of paddling. And so, yeah, he would be a guy who would want to get out there if given the opportunity, that's for sure. But that is what is different about this experience, right, is you have other areas of the country that have opened things back up, at least to a degree. They're allowing, at the very least, a percentage of fans back into various facilities. Not the case yet here. There was some hope, certainly some optimism that maybe by the time we got to this Big West Conference tournament, that would be the case, and fans, at least in some way, would be, in some capacity, would be allowed back in. But we haven't gotten that clearance yet around these parts.
Not just yet, but the good news is, and not to surpass this by any means, but next year Hawaii will also be hosting the Big West Championships. And believe me, this arena, I'm sure, will be packed. Yeah, the HTA, Hawaii Tourism Authority, announcing last year that they would be the presenting sponsor for the men's volleyball and men's and women's basketball tournaments in the Big West Conference for the course of 3 years. But here's a look at the Long Beach block. And it has certainly been tough to reckon with from the UC Irvine perspective. 3 total blocks here, including 2 from the middle right there, Simone Anderson, in this opening frame. I think that was a very well timed out from UC Irvine.
And Godbold getting ready to serve here. 20 serving 16. Pass on the money. Middle set goes to Static. And again, at 7 feet tall, he just places it down, almost dunks it over the net. But give credit to A.J. Faley on that serve receive.
Yeah, that was a perfect pass, and it did. It looked like a slam dunk. He got his hand on that and slammed it down. It really wasn't considered a spike.
And a guy, if you're Irvine in this position down 3, that you'd want behind the service line right there, Schneidmiller, pass by Godbold, tight to the net, and they're going to call interference against Irvine reaching over, and so they give the point to Long Beach State.
And that's the hardest thing when you see a ball coming over the net, to be disciplined. Taking a look at it here, you see him reach over, and it looks like he interfered with the set. The call being on Cole Gillis.
Your opinion? Feel like that was the appropriate call?
I actually don't. I thought that he didn't, because Aiden Knipe got his hands on it first. Had Gillis contacted the ball first, yes, I believe he would have been guilty as charged, but he didn't. He was a second contact on that ball. And so it looks like it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, because as you mentioned, Knipe was the first one to touch it. It was a one-hand set attempt, and it looked like he was keeping it on the Long Beach side. So in other words, he wasn't trying to dump it over, which would have also changed the circumstance. He was trying to play the offensive transition game, and so this will be reviewed, but all of those elemental things will be considered here by Bert Fuller, who has been awfully busy here in set number 1.
He's off to a quick start, and I think it's going to be a long weekend for this for this ref crew, because, you know, I don't think they've had a lot of opportunities to do these challenges. And so they're going to have to get back into that system of reviewing plays. Taking a look. There you see it.
Here we are getting precisely the same looks that the referee, too, Bert Fuller, is getting.
And it looks like Knipe, you know, great effort by him in bringing that ball back to his side, but he did contact it first from this angle.
Already off with the headset is Fuller, and they will uphold the call. It will be a Long Beach point. And so a failed challenge on the part of David Niffen.
So -1. He doesn't get that one back. That was his first challenge, I believe, on the evening. So he's got 2 left unless they go to 5. And if they go to 5, he gets 1 more.
But an important point, so maybe he's thinking risk reward here, give it a try, why not? Siegfried on the serve, Long Beach up 4. That one tight to the net, almost an exact carbon copy of what we saw, except no interference this time by Long Beach, and a great one-hand set to Static for the kill.
Static up early, trying to lead his team. He's been around this sport and at UC Irvine for years. The #1 blocker at his school, setting careers in solo blocks. Getting his master's currently.
Akil Tongatur in to serve here for Irvine. Middle set, and there's Anderson. Someone came into the twine, and that was on the Irvine side. And so net violation gives the point to Long Beach State. Active opening frame here for Simone Anderson. How important is that for Long Beach State to establish that middle?
Well, it's huge. I think once you establish your middle, it opens up your outsides and your potential big players, which we really haven't seen so far in this match. Big being the back row attack. But the block and establishing that middle is huge.
There's Ryan Poole, who has split time at the setter position this year with Aiden Knipe, and that one hit off the block and up into the scoreboard overhead. That had all kinds of thunder behind it from Alexandre Sakanda.
That just goes to show you the power behind it. It went up and ricocheted off of the scoreboard and came back so fast that nobody on Long Beach could actually react to it.
No, they could have played it because they were the last to touch it. If it hits up top and comes back on your side of the net, it is a live ball. If it were to have gone back on the other side, it would have been ruled a dead ball. Middle set, a little low for Holdaway, but it goes right back over the net. They're playing ping pong up there. Now Irvine with it again. Outside set, the big swing by Gillis results in a point for Irvine, and they're not pow yet here in this opening set.
And Irvine really showing some fight. You can see it, and Long Beach had some opportunities to put that ball away and did not. They did that little ping pong up at the net, cost them a point.
Serving 22. Here it comes from Sakanda. Pass again tight to the net. That one touched over onto by Knipe. Sakanda from the back row just dinks it over, and it drops where no Beach players were.
Sakanda having a little bit of hang time there. It's a brilliant set by Jai. He hung up there and just watched Long Beach watch the ball drop.
And a timeout on the Long Beach State side. You're right. I mean, ironically, that was a Beach type of shot. You would see that out there in beach volleyball.
And the lefty just hanging high there with his 4th kill on 5 attempts, doing a very nice job for his team, breaking things up, changing the momentum.
Well, we are very honored to be joined on the broadcast by the commissioner of the Big West Conference, Dan Butterly, who made the trip out to the islands. And first off, Dan, thanks for making some time to talk with us. How much are you enjoying the first match of the day here so far?
I tell you what, you realize how great Big West men's volleyball is when you're here live and in person. I wish this place was packed and we had fans with us, because it's been an exciting first game of this match.
Yeah, it's unfortunate no fans yet allowed in this facility for an event like this, but just the fact that we have gotten underway here, that all the teams made it out here, and in a couple of instances like Irvine and Hawaii, you have teams that went through the entire season with no positive COVID cases. Talk a little bit about just that accomplishment unto itself.
Yeah, truly a testament to our institutions, their medical personnel, our athletic trainers, who I can't rave enough about, but obviously the student athletes and the coaches as well, doing everything they needed to do this season to stay healthy, to avoid social contact, to wear masks, to do all the crazy things we're having to do in this COVID environment. To be able to get to complete a season and to be able to get to this championship is a testament to everybody in the Big West involved with this event.
Well, you're a little over a month away from your 1-year anniversary on the job. You picked a heck of a time to take over as commissioner of the Big West Conference and have to navigate through the challenge that was the COVID season, and obviously still being challenged by all of those factors. What has it been like? What has been the stance of the Big West Conference throughout all of this?
Well, crazy, as you said, it's coming up on my 1-year anniversary of being commissioner, and this is the second event I've been to. I don't think I would have ever told you that if I became a commissioner almost 1 year into it. It'd be my second event, but it's been an unbelievable experience for our student athletes, for everybody involved this year across college athletics across the world relative to this COVID environment. And again, just being able to play here and seeing live volleyball is just a testament to what everybody's done.
Well, I think we can keep the conversation going here over the last few points as Seconda sends it over for Irvine. And Godbold gets it down for Long Beach State. If I may ask you here, and obviously we're up at the tail end of this first set, but what have you still been able to do? I know you had a lot of initiatives that you wanted to apply upon your taking over as the commissioner. How have you been able to still execute some of that?
Well, a little bit slower progress, obviously, in a lot of the initiatives that were left on my desk and a lot of things that we wanted to accomplish in this first year. But we're getting a lot of stuff done behind the scenes, and we're going to be really excited to announce throughout the summer all these initiatives that we have been working on. Some really big ones, and then some things that will enhance the experience of our student athletes and our championships down the road.
Where does men's volleyball rank in terms of importance to the Big West Conference as we see the evolution of men's volleyball start to gain a little bit of traction in other parts of the country?
It's one of the biggest sports in the Big West Conference, no doubt about it. We've got Olympians that are playing here tonight. We've got national champions in the Big West Conference. I mean, we're excited to be able to put teams in the NCAA tournament this year so that we can win national championships again this year. So it is on the priority list, one of our top sports in the Big West Conference.
Well, it is Long Beach serving for set one, and an ace is delivered by Spencer Olivier. So the Beach strike first, and they take the 1-0 lead here in the first match of the Big West Conference tournament. Commissioner Butterly, we appreciate your time. Glad you made it out here. It's great to see you, and enjoy the rest of the tournament.
Appreciate you and Spectrum broadcasting this to our fans. Kanoa, thank you so much.
All right, take care. We'll return to this quarterfinal after the break. This Spectrum Sports telecast of the 2021 Big West Men's Volleyball Tournament is sponsored by Bank of Hawaii. And it is Long Beach State that struck first here in the opening match of the opening day of the Big West Men's Volleyball Tournament, taking the first stanza 25-22, and as expected, in large part behind the arm of Spencer Olivier.
Olivier doing a great job for his team, which hit 583. He had 4 of the kills, hitting at 375. So smart and savvy. Doing a great job for his team from the outside hitting position and from the backcourt serving.
On the other side, Alexandre Seconda. How about 5 kills? Error-free so far, Lisa.
Yeah, he's been huge for his team. The lefty out of Canada doing a great job just bettering the ball every time he's gotten an opportunity to swing.
So UC Irvine dropped set one despite hitting 407 as a team. Long Beach State hit 583. They only had 1 error as a squad, and then they outblocked Irvine 3-0. So, yeah, you just have to be that much better. And that's what Long Beach State was in the first.
That's what both coaches talk about, is those little things. It's those little things that add up to make it a difficult game. There were 10 ties in that game alone, and then we saw Long Beach pull out. Irvine tried to come back into it, and Long Beach snuck away with that one.
Yeah, I kind of like the way Alan Knight put it, where he said this time of year, and obviously this is a very experienced program when it comes to postseason play, he says this isn't the time for the spectacular, it's the time to major in the minor details of volleyball. And I thought that was a pretty well-framed response there, and pretty accurate for sure. As we get set number 2 underway, and again, under the COVID protocols, no swapping of sides, so it will be Irvine on that side of the net the entirety of the match, and Long Beach State will remain on this side. And it is 1-0 Anteaters early in set 2. Schneidmiller into the net.
And interestingly enough, in game 1, Long Beach State had 7 service errors. 5 service errors, which is kind of a lot, and Irvine had only 3.
One serving one, and that's a heck of a serve by Godbold. An incredible up by Schneidmiller just to keep it in play. Seconda got a pretty decent swing out of it too. Middle set, Anderson blocked back and sent over the net. Chance here for Irvine on the attack. They go middle, Static is blocked. It goes back over the net on the ricochet. Backside, Godbold from behind the line. The touch shot drops, pulled the string at just the right time.
And it seems like we're seeing a little bit more soft shots than we normally do. Both of these teams just have so much ammunition, but they've started out swinging strong, and now they're dropping balls in, playing a little bit smarter, if you will.
Godbold, and he hits Static, who was basically just trying to stay out of the way, and he caught him on the thigh. It was as if that was a heat seeker.
It was. You know, Scott Static was trying exactly to get out of the way, but that ball was coming so fast, and it's such a high with a torque on it.
Another good serve. Overpass. Siegfried couldn't put it down. Irvine has to send it over, though. Free chance here for the Beach. Back row set. Olivier. And the Beach is starting to do a little bit of a rhythmic dance on its side of the net, Lisa.
They really are. They're starting to get more and more in system.
And a timeout by Irvine. Monday, it's a double dose of OIA boys volleyball. Catch Kailua versus Castle at 6:15 p.m. on Spectrum OC16 and Kalani versus Kalaheo at 6:30 p.m. on Spectrum XCast. A lot of East Side represented on the island of Oahu in that promo right there. And this is some of the scenery on the east side of the island.
It's gorgeous.
It really is. And we really are spoiled.
We are more than spoiled, living in paradise. Sitting here courtside at the Big West Conference Championships.
Yeah, the only drawback, obviously, again, no fans. You would think as this tournament progressed, we'd see some packed houses, that's for sure. Irvine trailing by 3, and a good pickup there by Olivier on the Seconda swing. Here's Godbold on the D set, couldn't get it down. Back the other way, it's Gillis. And he goes down the line. That was a pretty nifty placement there by Cole Gillis.
Yeah, Cole Gillis seeing the court well. Irvine keeping the set a little bit off of the net by the freshman setter Jai, who I think is doing a spectacular job. And Gillis going high down that line.
Yeah, Dylan Jai has been impressive. Another Big West Conference all-freshman team selection. One of 4, actually, from Irvine on that freshman squad. As Siegfried hits it long, wanted to touch, no such call. And so a point for Irvine, and they're back within 1.
And interesting about Dylan Jai, Roger Worsley, Joe Worsley, and Gage Worsley's dad helped him with his setting. And he has a little style similar to Joe Worsley, where he holds on to it a little long and then releases the ball.
Outside, here's Siegfried. Was able to hop up and put a good swing on that one, so Long Beach back up too. Yeah, you're right. David Niffen has compared Jai stylistically to the former Hawaii setter Joe Worsley, and when you watch him play, there is that just extra nanosecond where the ball's in his hands where you think, how much is he pushing the envelope there before he gets a whistle?
Yeah, we haven't seen him really be called for a whistle there. He's only going to get better, only a freshman.
Well, we got a foot foul called against Siegfried. It was otherwise a thunderous serve.
And he actually went back and asked the linesman, like, how far over was I? He needed to know. He wasn't sure. And he said, okay, I got it. He'll self-correct. Believe me, the senior will definitely self-correct.
So UC Irvine looking to tie it here, 4 serving 5. Also trailing in the match 1-0. Back row set, it's Siegfried. The good up there by Faley. Bumps that tight to the net, and it is put over with the left hand by Gillis. Here comes the beach the other way, Olivier. And that's just too hot to handle. Sizzler off the high hands.
Olivier doing another fine job, high off the hands. He ran under that ball just a little bit, but recognized it immediately. A nice tight block by Irvine, but just hitting high off the 7-foot hands.
This is a young nucleus for Long Beach that is going to be problematic for the rest of the conference here going forward. Spencer Olivier, this is his 4th year with the program. He's still a sophomore in standing.
Yeah, COVID has really presented a lot of changes, challenges, and more opportunities for these players to be longer in their programs.
Gillis hits it long. Yeah, so you include Olivier in a sophomore class of 4 on this current roster. They have a freshman class that includes 8 players. They also have 3 red shirts here this year. So it's similar, you could say, to how Alan Knight built what turned into a juggernaut, right? Where you had TJ DeFalco and you had Josh Tuaninga, this group that grew up playing together quite literally, and they paid the benefit for sure.
He utilizes that redshirt year. He also gets them all involved in USA Volleyball. Somehow they're playing at a high level consistently so that when he gets them, and he gets them for a long period of time, they've got a lot of experience under their belts.
Olivier looking DeFalco-esque, dare I say, on that swing. You know, Alan Knight even compared the freshman Clark Godbold to Kyle Insing. He says, hey, look, he's a guy who, yes, we have him playing opposite currently, but he can play outside hitter or opposite. He's not your prototypical or standard opposite hitter. It's a guy who brings an element of versatility very much in the way that Kyle Insing did.
And Kyle Insing was a National Player of the Year, I believe. He played on 2 national championships and now plays professionally. A huge compliment.
Oh, a huge 4-point lead early in set 2 for Long Beach. The adventurer Kavika Singson captures whale songs while diving through a bait ball in Kailua Bay. Check it out Sunday night at 8:30 exclusively on Spectrum OC 16. Well, we're seeing different parts of the island of Maui here in some of these scenic shots. We're busting out the prime scenics here for this broadcast.
Kanoa's hometown.
Correct. That's right. You saw pieces of Wailea, Kapalua over there on the island of Maui.
Is that why it's prime?
Oh, yes, of course.
It's your hometown?
Very biased. Very biased. Davis Lau is into the match here for the Anteaters. 5'7" sophomore. A Honolulu, Hawaii native out of Punahou School.
Davis Lau has contributed to this team in many ways. One of his most ways is that, number 1, he's local, but he brings the Ohana spirit, and he always works hard for his team.
So he comes in at the libero, but Aiden Knight delivers an ace out of the timeout. And right now, I think psychologically, Irvine is up against it, right? This is a team that went 0 for 2 against Long Beach State. They suffered a reverse sweep defeat against the Beach. And yes, they had a lot of different players in different places and guys who were injured and whatnot. But you figure psychologically, if they go down 2-0, that's going to be awfully tough to overcome.
It's huge, and it really becomes a mental thing. In my personal opinion, they are very capable. We saw what this UC Irvine team is capable when they pushed University of Hawaii at number 1 to 5 sets. They're very capable of it, but right now, it's created too much of a separation.
Oh boy, some high cheddar. Some chin music from Olivier on Patrick Vorenkamp.
Olivier just unloads on this ball down the line. He's got a solid block on him, but somehow he sneaks it by the hands of Schneidmiller and Static.
Here is Olivier, 11 serving 6 into the net. And so a freebie for Irvine. And I know there's a lot of volleyball left to be played here in this match. But Long Beach State seems to have gotten off the plane with a certain mission about it, right? They walk in here with a certain body language, a program that is very experienced at this time of year, with a coach that has been there, done that, and they seem to be exemplifying, or at least exhibiting, some of that karma right now, as you see Siegfried once again celebrating after the point.
Long Beach State has a little bit of an edge to them, if you will. They come back to Hawaii after a kind of a rough road last time they were here, with the noise and a little confusion and conflict, I guess you could say. So I think they've got a little something on their shoulder coming in.
12 serving 7. He tickles the tape. Chance here for Irvine. Schneidmiller will slice that one thin cross court. And that's a point for the Anteaters. You're right, the last time Long Beach was here, of course, we were introduced to Volume Gate, and things got pretty confrontational between Charlie Wade, who you see in the shot there, with the other members of the UH coaching staff. Our own James Anastasiadis, who has helped up on our broadcast of this season. Alan Knight was asked about it as well in the run-up here this week. And he clarified, saying, look, I was complaining specifically, as you see Olivier go off of the static block and down, I was complaining specifically about a volume spike that occurred before a serve. It led to a long break in the action, a lot of confusion. We were getting information piecemeal, but what it also turned into was a face-to-face verbal confrontation between Knight and Charlie Wade. Now, to clarify, as far as the artificial crowd noise is concerned for this tournament, it is going to be held at a very steady decibel level, except for plays like that, what's referred to as highlight plays, blocks or kills or aces. Then they can spike it up to a certain degree. But other than that, they are going to be applying that to every team, whether it's Hawaii or any other team. No home court advantage is being treated as a very strict, neutral floor. You even have the fan cutouts that have been removed across the way.
They're gone. Our fans are gone.
As Siegfried sends it into the twine, and Irvine trying to hang tough here, trailing by 3.
And Irvine putting a little bit of pressure back onto Long Beach, and this is where Long Beach needs to take care of that first contact.
Middle set, and there is Simone Anderson.
And there you see the first contact by Olivier, doing a great job. He is so steady, the 6th rotation player, passing well, serving well, hitting well, blocking. I think he's really leading his team right now.
Well, he's a guy who experienced national championship runs, right? He has seen what it takes at this time of year to be successful. A serve there by Siegfried, but a great transition for Irvine as Connor Campbell, fresh into the match, puts it down. 6'7" freshman from San Diego. So we're seeing David Niffen going deep into his bench to try to find some kind of spark here in this second set.
Well, that's exactly what these coaches need to do. They're going to look at what's working and what's not and try to make changes according to what's happening on the court.
Seconda. Pass by Briggs on the money, and the middle set, like clockwork, goes to Anderson. But again, you talk about the first touch, and the libero Mason Briggs, 6-foot freshman, he's handled serve receive well. They've done a good job all around back there.
Yeah, Mason Briggs is really kind of that unsung hero. We don't talk about him a lot, but he does so much for his team. He was an All-American second team. He was also Big West co-freshman of the year last year. He does so many things for his team, and he's only a freshman. Again, build, rebuild,
that's right.
Reload, rebuild, reload.
Anderson taking a few extra moments here before the high toss. Into the net it goes. Two-time AVCA All-American. Honorable mention in 2020 and 2018.
Yeah, he's pretty solid, and he will be returning as well. He's only a junior.
First touch there by Siegfried. D-set goes to Godbold, and he lights it up. The chase down on the second touch by Lau, and a good swing there over the net by Schneidmiller, but it'll be played back, and there is Ethan Siegfried once again.
Ethan getting a touch off of that play. doing a nice job. He has really transformed, and it's nice to see him getting the opportunity because I've always felt like he contributes to his team so much. Earlier in the season, wasn't getting a lot of playing time.
Outside Schneidmiller. And there may be nobody in the country that hits the ball quite as violently as Joel Schneidmiller. And he puts everything into it. Case in point.
He really does, and you can just hear the thunder behind it. He's got this contact that just, when you're sitting right here, it really implodes.
And Connor Campbell sends it long, and so danger zone now for Irvine, trailing by 4. We're getting to the latter stages of set 2. We mentioned, I think psychologically, emotionally, you don't want to get down 2-0 against a team that you haven't beaten really since 2015.
Definitely not, and they talk about that. Winning becomes a habit, and so as you continue to win, you get this confidence level that changes the dynamics on the court.
The dynamics of that swing by Schneidmiller were changed. Return to sender, in fact, as Siegfried jumping up with Holdaway denied access.
Well, Long Beach really knows that UC Irvine is most likely going to go to Joel Schneidmiller. He has been their go-to guy all year.
That's Sani. We haven't called his name in some time, but he is a guy who, if he gets hot, can change the complexion of this thing as well.
Yeah, he is not, we haven't seen him much tonight. Sani doing a nice job. That's his 3rd kill on 6 attempts. Hitting at 167.
And he is back behind the line to serve. 6 aces on the season coming into this match. That one reaches 66 miles an hour on the gun. Here's Siegfried. Rattled around and returned, but a free chance here for the Beach. They got the advantage. Middle set, Holdaway, smacks it home.
And that's where Long Beach really excels on those transition balls. Mason Briggs digging that right on point and then just being able to run the quick with Shane Holdaway. Hard to stop that.
How about the 2 middles for Long Beach? Holdaway, 4 kills on 6 swings, no errors. Simone Anderson, 5 kills on 7 swings, no errors. And they each have a pair of blocks.
Yeah, they're really carrying a nice load. Good set distribution by Aiden Knight.
Here's Simon Torwi, 6'10" freshman from Spain. All freshman team selection in the Big West. Backside set, Schneidmiller, 2-hand save by Olivier, and the setup for Godbold from Anderson. That was something to behold.
That's my play of the day, of the night so far. Anderson turning, finding that ball, and then bump setting. Check this out. Bump setting right on the net. Goldball just taking care of business.
I mean, that was a nectar set there from Simone Anderson. 20 serving 14. Here's Schneidmiller, 2 blockers up. The coverage there by Static. Schneidmiller has to knuckle it over. May have been an out ball played by Olivier. The Beach go middle. Anderson is blocked, and it'll be a roof for Scott Static, solo style, and that may have been an out ball played by Olivier in the deep corner.
His whole team was yelling at him, and with all the crowd noise in here, Kanoa, I'm positive he couldn't hear it. Well, they might have been, but I don't think that that middle set was high enough and it didn't clear the net.
Back row set, Olivier, the touch. Diving save there by Jai. Free ball again for the Beach. Outside, Siegfried gets it down. Ethan Siegfried with his 6th kill. He's hitting above 300.
And making that all possible, Mason Briggs, the freshman out of Valencia, California, with 2 perfect passes right on point, allowing Aiden Knight to set whoever, whenever.
Siegfried, one of the seniors on the squad. They have 4 of them on the roster, but yeah, another guy like Simone Anderson, experienced at this time of year. He has been through some of those journeys en route to national championships. Godbold sends it into the net.
Coach Knipe talks about Siegfried, saying he brings so much leadership. Him and Simone Anderson continue to bring leadership to this group. They're very steady. They're very consistent. They're just great leaders on and off the court.
16 serving 21. And that one just misses that end line from Scott Static. Yeah, this is a scary team, Long Beach State. They played just 10 matches, but they are a team that, and I think Alan Knipe exhibits this kind of confidence. He feels like this is a team that on any given evening, they can give a run for their money to just about anybody in the country. Outside, Olivier by the block, dug up back over the net. This time they go backside. Godbold had to adjust the approach, and the block was waiting for him.
Yeah, he got a little bit under that ball, but Alan Knipe just so used to creating this culture, if you will, of winners and national championships. They breed it and they believe in it. You gotta love the celebration by UC Irvine off of that block.
Yeah, he refers to it as the culture, or even the Long Beach way has been a phrase that I've heard him utter as well. Served by Seconda is a good one. Beach out of system. Olivier hammers it, dug up over the net. We got a joust up there. And it was Jai who got a swing, but it's popped up by Briggs. And then Olivier bounces it off with a Terraflex.
And things are definitely going Long Beach State's way, but Davis Lau doing a nice job on defense back there.
Oh, Alan Lau had his time doing that as well. His pops played at UC Santa Barbara and was a standout from 77 to 82.
Yeah.
23 serving 17. Here it comes from Poole. Backside, Seconda comes swooping in, goes down the line. It is called in.
And Long Beach State bench, not so sure. They feeling like that ball was not in.
And I think we're going to have a challenge from Alan Knipe.
And it was moving pretty quickly, but they are standing right there.
Yeah, that was another one of those immediate reactions from some of the players, even on the bench. And I think Alan Knipe even had to turn to some of the players first off, say, all right, ease up, calm down here.
Yeah.
Don't get too riled up. But then also at the same time asked their opinion on what they saw. And it was within the sideline. The question is, was it long?
That's a beautiful swing by Seconda down the line. And usually that left back has their left foot, that's Connor Campbell there, on the line.
Well, that looks in by a good amount.
It sure does. There on this replay, you can see the blockers giving him line. They tried to channel him line, and he went ahead and took the line. And it was ruled in.
So Knipe tried to challenge it. It is an Irvine point. But they have an uphill climb here, trailing by a handful. 18 serving 23 in the second. First match of the Outrigger 2021 Big West Men's Volleyball Tournament, presented by the Hawaiian Islands. And Olivier, my goodness, that was crushed. He's already in double figures. That is kill number 11 for Spencer Olivier.
Yeah, it's a little scary. He's hitting at 526 right now. He's bouncing balls. You can put 2 up on him, 3 up on him, but he's moving the ball around very nicely.
So aloha ball, as they say around here, for set number 2. Schneidmiller from off the net. Briggs has the back line guarded, and that set from Knipe slipped in his palms. Tried to go to hold away, but it wasn't there for him, and all he can do is just try to wipe off the perspiration on his jersey as much as possible.
That's right. He chuckled at himself and was like, all right, next ball. Let's move along.
He's dealing with an ankle injury, and thus had to give way to Ryan Poole for much of the starting opportunities, but he is back and he is playing well, and so is this Long Beach State team as they take set 2, 25-19, and they're thinking about cracking open the broom closet. Some of the imagery of the coastline on the island of Kauai. It is certainly breathtaking, as has been this Long Beach State performance through 2 sets. taking the first two, and they have looked dominant. Ethan Siegfried has contributed in a big way. 6 kills on 11 swings, hitting .364. But he also has a service ace. He also has a pair of blocks. He has been a stat sheet filler here so far, Lisa.
He's just been so consistent for his team so far, and all season long, and his 4 seasons long, and he's playing at home in Hawaii.
Yeah, this is money time for Ethan Siegfried. And money time for a Long Beach State, up 2-0. So let's talk about adjustments now. How much of this is just more between the ears, if you will, for the Anteaters to try to get back into this match? Or how much can they tactically do to try to flip it?
Well, they definitely have to change that mindset. Down 0-2 coming into the third. It's either you start and go and pull a reverse sweep to get yourself back in this match. It's mindset. It's getting a little bit more in system. They're not as efficient as they would probably like to be in their hitting. They've had hitting at .327, but right now they're blocked. They've got 2 blocks on the whole match. It'd be nice to see them get a few of those. It will change the momentum and just the energy for the team itself.
I mean, we have sort of described Long Beach State as being almost dominant here so far through 2 sets, but UC Irvine's hitting .327. They're serving the ball pretty well at times on their side, but it just feels like Long Beach State hasn't really been threatened, and they have been clearly the sharper team for sure in most categories.
They've been a lot more crisp, and on the longer rallies and the bigger rallies, Long Beach State is coming out on top. So you can just feel the energy is completely different on both sides of the net.
And Simone Anderson continues to do Simone Anderson things. He gets his 6th kill and gets the scoring started here in set 3. We mentioned UC Irvine has not defeated Long Beach since April 3rd of 2015. It's 11 straight Long Beach State victories. Godbold lays out to keep the sequence alive. Here's Seconda against a double block, and the heavy hander gets Irvine on the board in the third.
And you can see the Irvine bench players jumping up and down and cheering on. I think they know that there's a sense of urgency. They've got to put things together real quick here.
Schneidmiller with the serve, the up there by Briggs. And Olivier comes flying in from the back row, sends it long, no touch, and so Irvine has the advantage here 2-1 early.
And Olivier, we haven't seen him do almost any hitting out of the back court, but that's only his 2nd error in 20 attempts so far tonight.
Again, we'll bring you the nightcap here. Game 2 of this opening round, the quarterfinal round as it is referred to here, despite the fact that we only have 2 matches, but you have 2 buys for the top seeds. But we'll have CSUN and UC San Diego. And that should be a pretty fun one as well. The Tritons did win the first 2 meetings with CSUN. One was a sweep and one was a 5-set thriller. As that's a service ace. Ethan Siegfried. He had 5 aces in 1 match versus the aforementioned Tritons of UC San Diego. He's the team leader in that category, and we saw some of the thunder there.
He really makes things happen from the service line. It's almost every time he comes in, he mixes it up just enough to make things happen.
Overpass, and the net was moving.
And it's amazing, the net is still bouncing, and no UC Irvine player was anywhere near the net. So obviously there's going to be a challenge. How can you not challenge that?
Yeah, we didn't really get the full-fledged signal on the point either. It was kind of a tantalizing pause from the officiating crew, but it looks as though they did give Anderson the point. And so Long Beach is up 4-2 on the scoreboard, but that is going to be challenged. David Niffen immediately making that signal.
And here, you'll see it on the replay immediately. He follows through into the net.
I mean...
And Schneidmiller went up to the head ref immediately and said, come on, you guys. And I think he's right. It's unfortunate that they have to use one of their challenges on such an obvious call.
Right, they get to keep it because it's a successful one, but you're right. It also, halts and staggers the momentum and the rhythm of this third set, albeit early. But that was one that you shouldn't have to rely on the replay challenge there.
Yeah, it's incredibly obvious.
So 3 serving 3. Middle set, Anderson blocked, kept alive by Olivier. Anderson sets him up, he's blocked and roofed. Well, Connor Campbell has come into the match, and he has been in on several key plays here. In that 5-set loss to Long Beach State, he did post 7 blocks. That was back on March 27th. So he has had some success against this Beach squad, and there he gets an important one for Irvine. Olivier blocked and roofed. Solo stuff Seconda.
And that can change the momentum, if you will. Just the harder you hit it, the harder it comes back. Seconda having a really nice job. Nice block there, I should say.
Well, having a good match, I think you were alluding to. 2 blocks now to go along with the 7 kills, still without a hitting error, and he gets a good chunk of that swing by Olivier. He sets to the setter Jai, who then goes middle to Campbell, but he slices it wide. So an opportunity missed there by Irvine, but Seconda getting his fingerprints literally all over this 3rd set so far.
Yeah, he's very engaged in this match right now. Interestingly enough, UCI got one up on that last few points.
So 4 serving 5. Anderson, that high toss, took a little something off that time. Outside, it is Tonga Tour, and we're going to have a net violation against the Beach. Tonga Tour, another player for Irvine who has been in the libero rotation. They have actually used 5 different players in the libero jersey this year. Tonga Tour, another one, even though he was an all-freshman team selection in the Big West last year as an outside hitter, but there he was offensively on the pin, and they're up 2. Olivier, drifting, was able to work the hands to his advantage.
Olivier hitting off the hands of Dylan Jai, recognizing the smaller blocker of the 2, and Jai gets up there. Again, a comparison very fairly with Joe Worsley.
Yeah.
Smaller, running a 5-1 offense. Sometimes they've switched it up and run that 6-2, but Jai doing a nice job.
Here's Seconda from the back row, popped up by Siegfried. Ooh, second touch, chased down. It was actually Holdaway who centered it. So a free chance here for Irvine. Seconda, the touch, diving save Briggs. Knipe goes backside, Godbold by the double block, got it down the line, and out. It was actually signaled in by the line judge on the scene, but that was, I think, more about the sideline association. And so the other line judge who was looking at the end line called it out. It is a point for UC Irvine, no touch.
And Irvine really moving their rotation around, bringing in different players to change things up for their team.
Olivier off the solo block attempt of Schneidmiller and down. If the block's going to be fooled there and you got a one-on-one situation ultimately with Olivier, you're going to like his chances each and every time.
Knipe with a beautiful back set, getting a one-on-one isolation set for Olivier, who still leads all hitters with 13 kills.
Yeah, hitting 360 as a service ace. That time it goes into the net though. Olivier's career high came against Hawaii in this building back on April 3rd. 25 kills, had 62 attempts in that match.
He was definitely in the zone, you might say. That's a lot of attempts.
That's a lot of swings, you're right. Siegfried gets a second crack at it and decided to throw the changeup, and it drops down for the point.
And again, showing his expertise, his experience, a little bit of beach volleyball, if you will, just mixing things up. He has the defense on hold. Roll shotting that in for his 8th kill on the evening. Hitting at 385.
Outside, Schneidmiller dug up over the net by Holdaway. They go back out to Schneidmiller, down the line and in, and there was a prime example on the Dylan Jai set of that ball just nesting oh so long in his palms.
It makes it so hard for the blockers on the opposing site to know what to do, because they're waiting long enough, and there you see he sets it to Schneidmiller, his go-to guy on the outside.
I mean, it is a split second, but it is daring for sure.
Yeah.
Outside, make that the back set going to Olivier, and he gets the touch.
And that was a quick bick out of that court. And Olivier seeing the court again so well, just aiming for hands. Mason Briggs trying to encourage his teammates on with the let's go and clapping everybody's hands.
Godbold. And had some pepper on it. Schneidmiller over the shoulder swing. Did that go outside the pin? Yes, it did.
And this is, if you remember, where UC Irvine had, it's a great rotation. Godbold made numerous points in this rotation earlier in this match from this service line.
Just the second hitting error for Schneidmiller, hitting 294. Secondo. And then dug up back over the net by Briggs. It's time to go the other side. Schneidmiller blocked. Kept alive by Static, but only for a moment. And again, Long Beach State showing that ability at the net to alter swings.
Siegfried got all of that one.
And we have an Irvine timeout. Neck and neck here in the third, and a must-win for the Anteaters. High school baseball is in full swing. Tune in tomorrow as Kapolei takes on Aiea at 6:15 p.m. Then Saturday, it's an ILH doubleheader with Marino versus Pac-5 and Kamehameha taking on St. Louis starting at 3:45 p.m. only on Spectrum OC16. It's a vision of the North Shore of the island of Oahu. That's right, the beach. And the beach here inside Simplify Arena at Stan Sheriff Center. 2-0. They lead here by a point in set 3. And they have arrived here in Honolulu, second time here this season. And I think most of the coaches talked about having that as at least somewhat of an advantage, the familiarity, playing in an arena that they normally would play in front of thousands upon thousands of fans. It's a little bit of a different environment and atmosphere. And so to have some of that experience under the belt, I think works in the favor of the teams that did play here earlier. But Alan Knight saying we're going to be very comfortable in the Big West tournament. That's something he was very confident about on behalf of his team, and they certainly have embodied that here so far. As another kill is put down by Siegfried. He's got 8.
He's just been so steady again for the team. But what you're talking about, Kanoa, is that these teams are comfortable coming here. They love coming to Hawaii. Every coach that we talk to or share and the players, they love, how can you not love this environment? Minus the spectators, yes, but they love coming to Hawaii.
And that one hit into the twine by Siegfried.
Alan Knight says, you don't grow up dreaming of coming and playing collegiate volleyball in an empty gym. Says you dream of coming and playing in front of others and spectators and your families and your loved ones and fans.
That's very true. Outside, here's Olivier, goes over the block. One-hand save by Schneidmiller. And Seconda, it was a tough angle there. High ball, didn't quite time the jump, and he hits it into the twine. Yeah, UC Santa Barbara, they are the 2 seed, and CSUN, who we'll see in the nightcap here this evening, the only 2 teams in the tournament that have yet to play in this building this season. So we'll see how they get acclimated. But there is something elemental, is there not, about the fact that there is no crowd, that it is just a bunch of guys in an arena on a volleyball court playing the game.
Yeah, this is where you really have to find that internal energy and internal purpose. What are you doing it for? Why are you doing it? You know, set out the goals and what the big picture is in the game.
Godbold delivers yet again. 8 kills for him. 13 serving 11. They're in favor of Long Beach State. Pass by Schneidmiller. It's a good one. Quick outside set goes to Tangutor. And it's dug up. High bump set. Olivier, a huge swing. Net violation goes against Irvine. But Spencer Olivier was looking to unleash on that swing.
And he did, and a beautiful bump set by Aiden Knight. Running that down again, you wouldn't know that he was out earlier this season with a bad ankle sprain. Perfect set location for yet another kill for Spencer Olivier.
14 serving 11. Serve into the net there from Simone Anderson.
And Irvine, let's see if they can get something happening here from the back line there. Seconda, the lefty out of Canada.
See the look of intensity. And there's 63 miles an hour on that serve. And then Olivier with no blockers up. I mean, that's just unfair right there. I mean, that is asking for trouble.
It really is. But again, Long Beach continues to take care of that first ball. They pass so well that it allows them to have this spectacular offense and lots of options.
15 serving 12. Leading Knight with the serve. And the swing by Sani. Right up there by Briggs. Siegfried from the back row, blocked. Good cover there, Olivier. Quickly back up on Springs. And he annihilates another one.
I think he is so determined, and he just is phenomenal tonight. That's his 17th. He digs that ball right there. Just perfect location. Just happens to be perfect. And then with no approach, annihilates that ball.
Yeah, dug that one off the shoulder and then quickly back into position for the attack. Here's Sani, 3 blockers up. And forget about it. And it is Long Beach State by 5. UC Irvine looking to bring in another substitution.
Trying to slow things down.
Yeah, they're using it as almost a de facto brief timeout. Just a little pause in the action and in the rhythm, but they are up against it right now. Up against a possible ending to their season if they do not win this third set. Knipe goes long, so maybe that little substitution worked.
Hey, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. And they've got to play some catch up here real quick.
Knipe goes backside, Olivier, the split block, but it's dug up by Seconda. Schneidmiller quickly winds up, uncoils the chase down on the second touch by Godbold. Good save initially there by Siegfried as well. Backside, Seconda rising high, dug up over the net by Briggs, and out. And a point for Irvine, and they're within 3.
And Briggs, again, is just all over the place, coming up with balls, taking care of that first contact as well.
Tongutor. Top spin serve, middle set, hold away. Didn't get a good contact on it. Kind of paint brushed it, but a net violation against Irvine, and they let Long Beach State off the hook there. They
really did. That would have been a 15-17, a 2-point gap versus a 4-point gap.
So David Niffen trying to get some feedback from his players, asking if there was a net violation. And this is one of those moments. Things are getting pretty dire here for Irvine, already trailing 2-0. The conclusion of their season appears imminent, and there looks like Campbell did come into the net on his way down, but I think we may be looking at a challenge here. Now, Campbell, in his defense, was sort of turning away after the block attempt, so he may not have felt his back sort of rubbing up against the twine there.
He probably didn't. And as a middle blocker, the minute you're done with that block, you turn to try to find that ball behind you. Look at how quickly he's turned and released to find the ball behind him.
So David Niffen was asking him in no uncertain terms, did you net? And you could see Connor Campbell saying, no, I didn't feel it. But clearly in the replay, he did. The point belongs to Long Beach State.
Oftentimes it's just the shirt that nets, maybe not you. You know, if it's not tucked in and tight.
So here is Ryan Poole from Enfield, England to serve.
And Coach Niffen on Ryan says he's just so great to have around. He's always smiling. He's always trying to make the team better.
And he serves it into the net. I mean, you have to figure it must be tough for him, right? I mean, he has been the starting setter over the last 6 matches, and here we are now in the postseason, and he gives way to Aiden Knipe, and I think just that alone exemplifies a little bit of that team mentality that Coach Knipe says he brings to the table.
And that's exactly it. It is a team mentality. They've had to make a lot of adjustments throughout the season.
As Siegfried rips into another Knipe nectar. So I should ask you, with the return of Aiden Knipe, what do you think he has done to this Long Beach State team? What do you think his impact on this match has been?
Well, I think he's just got a lot of experience, and the chemistry between him and the players is really showing. He's running a great offense right now. He knows where to go to. His set distribution is pretty even, but when a player's hot, he continues to go to them.
Oh, that one put a little too high above the net, and easy pickings for the 7-foot Scott Static. And you know, we say return of Knipe, we're talking about the return to the starting rotation. He has received spot duty, but even in warm-ups you can see still favoring that left ankle pretty significantly. Even his pops, Alan Knipe, saying, yeah, that's not something that he is anywhere clear of, but he's obviously good enough to go and good enough to still contribute in a significant way.
He's very determined, and he's of the bloodline. You got to remember, his dad played in the Olympics, coached in the Olympics. I mean, that's a genetic thing. It just kind of comes with the lineage.
Yeah. All right. I mean, you grow up in the gym, and Alan Knipe saying, I didn't force him into the game of volleyball, but when we came back from the Olympics, he said in 2012, I think that experience sealed the deal and framed it in the mind of Aiden Knipe as, all right, this is something I want to be a significant part of my life.
And he said, coaching him, yeah, he's my son, but he's one of the team, and so I have to treat him just like I do every other player. It was his decision to come to Long Beach State.
It helps that he doesn't work directly with the setters, right? He can kind of let the setters do their thing, and then when it's time to talk to the team in general and in mass, he can kind of be that guy. Backside, Seconda off the fingertips of the block and down. So you see Irvine making some noise here in the latter moments of this third set. Not ready to pack it in just yet, and that forces a Long Beach State timeout. What do the Anteaters have remaining in the tank to avoid a sweep? All right, a beautiful view of downtown Honolulu as we bring you back for the Leeward Roofing Roof Report. And it has been a block party to a certain extent for Long Beach State. 6.5 total team blocks. But they've gotten a number of touches that have kept sequences alive. They have definitely provided a significant amount of resistance to that Irvine attack up front of the net.
They really have. They've stayed on all their assignments. You can tell that they've been very focused on their assignments in the blocking categories.
But Irvine within 2. Here's Siegfried. Irvine with the block there, kept alive by Godbold. Siegfried a second time. This time plugs it through the block. Siegfried now into double figures in kills. He has 10. He's hitting a fat 444. And Long Beach State inching closer to putting the final touches on this one.
And Long Beach State, knowing that they can go to Siegfried, he's been having a really good evening at the net.
Maybe a little too pumped up there on that attempt as he snaps it long and back to a 2-point differential. So it is now or never time here for these Anteaters. 2-13 on the year. David Niffen saying, you know, that is the objective reality, that record, that is undeniable. He says, but there is an element of hope in the way we've played, in the way we've lost some of these matches. He genuinely felt like this is a better team than what our record shows. And I think we've seen that enough on just how hard they've played on various nights. Here's Seconda, sends it long. Was there a touch? A net violation is called against Long Beach State, and Irvine has trimmed it down to 1.
And Irvine immediately recognized the net violation on that play, getting a little lucky actually, because that hit was long. There you see Olivier into the net.
Static the serve. Backside, here's Godbold, and he pumps it long. No touch. Point Irvine, and we are tied at 21. And a timeout taken by Long Beach State, and you see Alan Knipe trying to urge his team on. I don't think he wants to see this match extended.
No, he doesn't. We talked to him earlier in the week, and he said, we're just trying to keep things short and keep it sweet. Stay focused on our side of the net, control what we can. Excellent timeout. They got a game to 4 right now.
Celebrate how local people in various walks of life have responded to COVID-19 with Aloha on the next Outside Hawaii, Sunday night at 6, exclusively on Spectrum OC16. Oh, one of the guys helping to keep UC Irvine afloat, Alexandre Sakanda, 11 kills, hitting .500.
Yeah, the lefty out of Canada started strong. He came out firing early, and he continues to fire away. And block away.
Yeah, the solo block on Spencer Olivier, one of the highlights of the night for sure.
I think that's one of the best feelings as a player, is to get a one-on-one solo block, to shut somebody down all by yourself.
As you see the UH contingent, what a benefit it is to have a bye. You get to sit in the building, you get to scout live and gear up for who you're going to play in the semifinal round. Every coach to a man in the conference calls earlier in the week, they all talked about the fact that they felt like this was a tournament that was effectively up for grabs. It is part of the reflection of just how talented this conference is, that even a team with 2 wins like Irvine, or a team with 6 wins, or an undefeated team like Hawaii, there are a lot of coaches who feel like, hey, look, if we get on the right run, if we can minimize the amount of time that we play in the early rounds, which is what you were referring to from Alan Knipe, we can maybe make a run at this thing.
Yeah, in this shortened, condensed season, if you will, this Big West, they played 10 games max, some of these teams. They're just getting into the reel of their season, and we're in playoffs.
Also got a good look at Rick McLaughlin. He was in here on behalf of his squad, UC Santa Barbara, scouting the action. They'll play the winner of this one. Hawaii will play the winner of CSUN and UC San Diego, which is the nightcap. But a big point there for Long Beach State as they break the tie. Their largest lead of this third set was 5. But Irvine able to creep all the way back to even things up. And now advantage Long Beach here, 22 serving 21. A put down there by Godbold, his 9th. And an ace from Simone Anderson. How about that timing?
Well, it's pretty critical timing on that, and what a difficult serve. Just a lot of topspin, bottoming out, a lot of curvature, and you know, it shows his experience. You've got to love his energy when he goes after this ball. On the replay there, you see the topspin, and it's just really close. Davis Loud going after it, but critical point for Long Beach State.
Yeah, that was filthy. That had all kinds of movement on it there from Simone Anderson. As we take a look at the bracket here for the Big West Men's Volleyball Championship Tournament. Again, the winner of this one takes on 2-seed UC Santa Barbara tomorrow. Undefeated and top-seeded and top-ranked Hawaii awaiting the winner of CSUN and UC San Diego. UC Irvine and CSUN actually finished with the same record in conference play, but CSUN, by virtue of point accumulation, actually won the tiebreaker, and so they were the higher seed. And so they will play in the nightcap here tonight against UCSD.
That's what they say when you go into playoffs. I mean, any team can win it, no matter where you are. If you're 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed, although 1 and 2 definitely have a distinct advantage having byes going into this tournament. These matches tonight, the quarterfinals, these players know that you win, you move on, you lose, your season is over.
I mean, single elimination format. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And we have seen enough of intercollegiate volleyball on the men's side to know that you could have all of the great statistics building up to any given matchup. But if you don't have it that night, if you're not taking care of your side of the net, if you allow yourself to get behind, that could be all she wrote. And so even from Hawaii's standpoint, I think they're feeling pretty good about where they stand with regard to even potentially if they weren't to win this tournament, an at-large berth. However, the releasing of the NCAA ratings percentage index, or RPI, the other day, I think made a lot of people shrug their shoulders and scratch their head and wonder, well, is it a guarantee? And may add a little bit to the sense of urgency for Hawaii to try to get this thing done. But yeah, it is not in any way going to be handed to any of these squads.
No. And Charlie Wade shared, and he said it's kind of like the Ouija board, you know, like, really?
Yeah. Hawaii was 4th in the RPI.
Yeah.
Behind Lewis, BYU, and Damon. Outside, that is Schneidmiller. Oh, that was a heavy-handed hit, but it's popped up by Anderson. The second touch by Knipe. What a set that turned out to be. He was negotiating with the partition over here in front of our booth area, and he was still able to get the assist. And it is aloha ball for Long Beach in the match. Check it out.
Talk about focused on location and set. He didn't care what was in his way. He didn't even see it.
So 24 serving 21. The Beach looking to advance. Pass by Lau. Backside, Seconda blocked and roofed. Point, Long Beach State. And they pull off the sweep to get through to the semifinal round of the Big West Conference Tournament. 25-22, 25-19, and 25-21. How impressive was this performance by the Beach, Lisa?
Well, the Beach came in ready and really very well prepared. Their energy from the get-go was excellent. They were playing great side-out volleyball. I mean, hitting at, for the match, 432, great numbers.
Well, Bank of Hawaii presents the players of the match. Let's take a look. Some strong individual performances on both sides. Alexandre Seconda for UC Irvine. 11 kills, hitting 500, had a pair of blocks, had a pair of digs. And Spencer Olivier, my goodness, 18 kills, hit 424, 2 blocks, 5 digs, and a service ace. And maybe most importantly for Long Beach State, they got this done in 3. So they exerted the minimum amount of energy. And I think that's important, not just for the team as a whole, but especially when you look at their starting setter, Aiden Knipe, still dealing with that ankle.
Exactly. They wanted to get in and out. Coach Knipe said earlier he wants to clean up and apply. Survive and advance was his motto. We want to get in there, and we want to survive and move on in the tournament.
All right, so we have head coach for Long Beach State, Alan Knipe, on with us. Coach, you have to be happy with the way your team came out here. It looked like they were on a very specific mission to get this accomplished and advance into the next round.
Yeah, you don't have a whole lot of time to wait around. There's a lot of really good teams on the, on the islands right now for this tournament. So I was really happy with how we passed the ball. We stayed in system for a big portion of this match, and that's a big deal for any team right now. So winning that battle was huge for us.
You said earlier this week, this isn't the time for the spectacular, it's the time to major in the minor details. How do you think your team did in that regard?
Yeah, I thought we were, actually in that area, we were just okay at the start, but it got really good as it went on. We picked up a lot of junk. We scrambled for points. We found a way, even if we didn't kill the first ball, we found a way to convert. And yeah, that's what I'm talking. That's playoff volleyball. You got to find a way to score points where you can, and it doesn't have to be pretty.
Well, I think it helps that you guys swept, especially in an instance like your son, Aiden Knipe, dealing still with that ankle issue. But to have him back in the starting rotation, what do you think he brought to the table here for you tonight?
Yeah, I don't want to take anything away with what Ryan's been able to do. What a heck of a job by an outside hitter for us. But there's a little bit of just having a setter who's done it for a while. We were able to do some things offensively and not be maybe as predictable, and that helped us. I thought he sparked us, and he was great. But we told our guys that it doesn't matter who starts. It only matters who ends, and if it ends the way we want it to. I would imagine there's going to be a lot of guys that play for us night to night, and it really doesn't matter. All
right, you turn the page over to UC Santa Barbara. What do you expect? How's the approach for tomorrow?
Yeah, they're two totally different teams. That's a big physical Irvine team, and not that Santa Barbara's not real physical, but they play a different brand of volleyball, and they fire the ball around pin to pin with one of the best setters in our league. And they put stress on you in different ways. So, we have some time to get back and watch some video. But the most important thing is to flip, and that tonight's match had nothing to do with how tactically we need to get after Santa Barbara. A lot of respect to them and their coaches. They do a heck of a job.
Well, you guys are still the defending two-time national champs, and you move on in the postseason, so congratulations on a great performance.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
Alan Knight, head coach for Long Beach State. Lisa, let me give you the final thought here.
Well, I think they did exactly what they came in to do. Credit to UC Irvine. They were here for 10 days and played hard volleyball. They've worked hard to get here, stayed here, but Long Beach State, very victorious. They did exactly what they wanted, and I think they're going to go back, watch film, get off of their feet, and get ready for tomorrow night.
So it will be the Beach taking on the Gauchos tomorrow. Don't forget, we have one more match for you here in round one. CSUN taking on UC San Diego. So we are not through here at Simplify Arena at Stan Sheriff Center. That one coming to you in about a half hour. So stay right here with Spectrum Sports. For Lisa Strand, I'm Kanoa Leahy. We'll see you in just a little bit, folks. But for now, aloha from Manoa.